When I opened my eyes, 4 women were arguing over which one of them had the legal right to kiss me. The first wore a white racing jacket over a red evening dress. Her knuckles were bruised, and a fresh cut crossed one eyebrow. The second stood beside the window in a dark prosecutor's coat, reading my medical chart as if it were evidence from a murder scene. The third had silver blonde hair, a black silk veil, and the kind of posture people learned after spending their childhood beneath museum portraits. The fourth smelled faintly of winter roses and expensive chemicals. She held my hand with perfect calm, but her fingers were colder than the hospital sheets. Every one of them was beautiful. Every one of them looked rich enough to purchase the private hospital around us, and every one of them claimed to be my girlfriend. "My turn," the woman in the racing jacket said. "I pulled him out of the car. I stay tonight." The prosecutor did not look up from the chart. "You also moved an injured patient before emergency services arrived. The car was on fire. You drove it into the barrier. Because someone cut the brakes." The veiled woman sighed. "Could both of you stop discussing the crash as if Cassian is already dead?" The woman holding my hand finally smiled. "He is not dead. His pulse increases whenever we fight." All 4 of them turned toward me. I tried to speak. Pain split through the back of my skull. The room tilted, and the only thing I could remember was my name. Cassian Roe. Nothing else. No childhood. No career. No memory of the 4 women surrounding my bed. I looked from one face to another. "Which one of you is actually my girlfriend?" For the first time, they all became quiet. Then 4 phones appeared in front of me. Each phone contained a video recorded by me. Same face, same voice, different location. In the first video, I stood beside a racing car and said, "Mina Seo is my girlfriend. If I wake up confused, trust her before anyone else." In the second, I was inside a courthouse corridor. "Tessa Grey is my girlfriend. If anything happens to my memory, do not let her leave." In the third, I stood beneath a giant painting in a private gallery. "Isolde Maren is my girlfriend. She knows where I hid the truth." In the fourth, I was sitting inside a laboratory filled with blue glass bottles. "Aurelia Knox is my girlfriend. She is the only person who can prove what was done to me." I watched the 4 recordings twice. Then the bedside monitor began to beep faster. Mina folded her arms. "Now you understand the problem." "No," I said. "I understand that I was either very brave or incredibly stupid." Tessa finally looked at me. "Both are possible." The hospital door opened. A nurse entered carrying a sealed black envelope that had been found inside my coat after the crash. My name was written across the front in my own handwriting. I opened it. Inside was a single card. "If you are reading this, the crash was not enough to kill you. Do not reveal what you remember. All 4 women are lying. All 4 women are necessary. One of them knows who erased your life." The room seemed to lose all its air. I lifted my gaze. 4 women. 4 supposed girlfriends. 4 different pieces of a life I could not remember. And somewhere among them was the reason my mind had become an empty room. Tessa took the card from my hand. "Who else has seen this?" "No one." "Good." She tore it into 4 pieces, dropped them into a water glass, and watched the ink bleed away. Mina stared at her. "That was evidence. That was a death sentence if the person watching this room discovered it." Isolde's eyes moved toward the smoke detector above the door. Aurelia released my hand. Everyone stopped speaking. She opened her handbag and removed a small perfume atomizer. Instead of spraying it, She unscrewed the bottom and revealed a signal detector. A red light flashed. The hospital room was bugged. The argument had not been private. Someone had been listening since before I woke. Mina immediately reached for the smoke detector. Tessa stopped her. No, let them believe we still hate each other. We do hate each other. Then acting should be easy. Isolde walked to my bedside and leaned close enough for the hidden microphone to hear. Cassian, darling, you should rest. Your girlfriends will settle this peacefully. Her voice was sweet. Her eyes were not. Beneath the blanket, she pressed a small brass key into my palm. That was the first clue. 3 hours later, the 4 women began their performance. Mina shouted that I would recover faster at her private racetrack villa. Tessa threatened to obtain a court order. Isolde claimed my family trust gave her authority over my treatment. Aurelia cried. Her tears were flawless. According to the note, I was not supposed to trust the first woman who cried. Aurelia was either the danger or the only one clever enough to know someone expected her to be. While the hospital staff tried to separate them, Tessa pushed my wheelchair into a service elevator. Mina disabled the cameras. Isolde used the brass key to open a maintenance exit. Aurelia injected something into my IV line. I grabbed her wrist. What did you give me? An antidote. To what? The drug still destroying your short-term memory. That answer frightened me more than the crash. We escaped through an underground ambulance tunnel and entered a black van with no plates. Mina drove. She drove like traffic laws were personal insults. Tessa sat beside her with a pistol hidden beneath her coat. Isolde watched the vehicles behind us through a silver compact mirror. Aurelia examined my pupils. I held onto the door and tried not to vomit. Where are we going? To a place none of our families know exists, Tessa said. Mina glanced at her. My family knows. Your family thinks it burned down. It mostly did. The safe house was an abandoned planetarium above the old river district. Its dome had collapsed years ago, but the rooms beneath it had been renovated into a hidden operations center. 4 locked cases waited on a circular table. Each case had my fingerprint on the seal. I touched the first. It opened. Inside was a driver's helmet, a photograph of Mina and me beside a destroyed rally car, and a memory card labeled Velocity. Mina looked away. The second case contained a courthouse visitor badge, a blood-stained tie, and a sealed witness list marked Judgment. Tessa's jaw tightened. The third held a miniature painting frame, a ledger written in coded auction numbers, and a note reading Mirror. Isolde removed her veil. The fourth contained an empty vial, a strand of synthetic nerve tissue, and a formula titled White Sleep. Aurelia became very pale. I looked at them. What was I investigating? Tessa answered first. The Palatine Circle. The name meant nothing to me. So Isolde explained. The Palatine Circle was not a company or a criminal gang. It was an agreement between 4 dynasties. The Seo family controlled high-speed transport and private racing technology. The Grey family controlled prosecutors, judges, and political investigations. The Maren Foundation controlled museums, auction houses, and the movement of unregistered wealth. The Knox laboratories controlled pharmaceuticals, memory treatment, and neurological research. For 30 years, the 4 families had protected one another. Evidence disappeared. Witnesses changed their stories. Money crossed borders inside paintings. People who knew too much woke up confused or did not wake up at all. And you? I asked. Mina removed her gloves. I was supposed to inherit the SEO transport network. Tessa said, I was supposed to protect the Grey family from prosecution. Isolde touched the coded ledger. I was raised to authenticate objects that were never meant to appear in official records. Aurelia looked at the empty vial. I developed the compound they used on you. Silence filled the planetarium. My hand tightened around the edge of the table. You erased my memory. No. Her voice shook for the first time. I created white sleep as a treatment for traumatic memory loops. My father changed the dosage and turned it into an interrogation drug. And you knew. I discovered it 2 months ago. Before or after you became my girlfriend? Aurelia flinched. Mina slammed both hands on the table. Enough. None of us were his real girlfriend. The words landed harder than they should have. Tessa gave her a sharp look. Mina continued anyway. Cassian approached each of us under a different identity. He used romantic relationships to enter our families. Isolde's expression remained calm, but the coded ledger trembled in her hand. With me, he was an art insurance investigator, Tessa said. With me, he was a protected witness. Aurelia whispered, with me, he was a patient who volunteered for clinical research. Mina looked directly at me. With me, he was a mechanic named Ren, who said he hated rich people. I sat back slowly. So I lied to all 4 of you. Yes, Mina said. Tessa corrected her. You lied at the beginning. Isolde lowered her eyes. The ending was less clear. I wanted to apologize, but apologies without memories felt dishonest. Instead, I asked the question none of them wanted. Why did all of you come to the hospital? Tessa placed my broken phone on the table. Because 3 hours before the crash, each of us received a scheduled message from you. The messages were identical. Claim you are my girlfriend. Bring the object I entrusted to you. Do not trust the others until I wake. If I do not remember you, the Palatine Circle has already moved. I stared at the 4 cases. I had not created 4 fake relationships because I enjoyed deception. I had turned 4 women into separate locks. No one family could open the entire investigation. No single betrayal could destroy all the evidence. Even with my memory gone, the 4 of them would be forced into the same room. It was brilliant. It was cruel. And it sounded exactly like the kind of man I was beginning to fear I had been. We spent the next week reconstructing my life. Mina showed me recordings from hidden cameras inside the SEO racing laboratories. Her family had been testing autonomous collision systems on public roads, then falsifying the accident reports. My crash used the same brake override. Tessa revealed that 12 prosecutors who had investigated the Palatine Circle had suddenly withdrawn their cases after private medical leave. Isolde decoded auction records, proving that the Circle paid officials through apparently worthless paintings. Aurelia examined my blood. White sleep was still present, but the drug alone could not explain the precision of my memory loss. Someone had used a personalized neural map. That meant I had willingly undergone brain scans before the crash. The only person with full access to those scans was my former mentor, Professor Lucian Ward. Lucian had raised me after my parents died. He had trained me to become an intelligence analyst. He had introduced me to every one of the 4 women. According to Tessa's files, he was also the secret coordinator of the Palatine Circle. The man who taught me how to investigate powerful families had been using me to identify their weaknesses. When I became too dangerous, he erased me. We still lacked proof. Lucian kept the Circle's master archive inside the Celestial Museum during the annual Masked Equinox Gala. The building was protected by Grey family security, SEO transport systems, Maren biometric vaults, and Knox chemical sensors. It required all 4 women to enter. That was why I needed them. Not as girlfriends, as the only people capable of breaking their own family's defenses. We prepared separately. Tessa forged a court seizure order. Isolde changed the museum's authentication schedule. Aurelia created contact lenses that blocked the memory aerosol used inside the archive. Mina rebuilt the same model of car involved in my crash and installed a manual override. I asked why. She tightened a bolt without looking at me. Because we may need to leave quickly. You could say you enjoy driving. I enjoy driving. Then why are you angry? She threw the wrench into the toolbox. Because you do not remember promising to quit lying to me. The planetarium became quiet. Mina finally looked at me. 2 nights before the crash, you told me Ren was not your real name. You told me about the investigation. You said when it ended, you wanted to know me without a mission between us. Something painful moved beneath my ribs. Was that another lie? I don't know. She stepped closer. That is what I hate most. Unlike the others, Mina had not fallen for the version of me wearing expensive suits or carefully prepared identities. She had met me beneath a rally car, covered in oil, swearing at a broken transmission. Apparently, I had laughed more with her than with anyone else. She showed me a video from 6 months earlier. In it, I was sitting on the hood of her car while rain fell over an empty track. Mina held the camera. My recorded self looked directly into the lens. If I ever forget everything, remind me that I hate sweet coffee, formal weddings, and anyone else touching the radio while I drive. Mina's voice came from behind the camera. You do not drive. You create traffic emergencies. I smiled in the recording. Then remind me I love you. The video ended. Neither of us spoke. I had no memory of saying it, but the expression on my face did not look like part of an operation. Mina turned away before I could see her cry. On the night of the gala, all 4 women arrived with me. That alone became a scandal. Mina wore silver. Tessa wore dark green. Isolde wore a gold mask shaped like a broken mirror. Aurelia wore white gloves to hide the chemical sensor patches on her hands. I wore no mask. Lucian Ward stood at the top of the museum staircase, smiling like a proud father welcoming his lost son home. Cassian, he said, I was afraid the accident had taken more from you. It took enough. His gaze moved across the 4 women. What an impressive collection. Mina started forward. I caught her hand. Lucian noticed. His smile changed. That was the first time I understood why he had erased me instead of killing me. He had not feared the evidence. He had feared the alliances I created. The gala began at midnight. Isolde triggered a false authenticity dispute in the Eastern Gallery. Tessa presented her seizure order to security. Aurelia released a harmless vapor that caused the chemical sensors to recalibrate. Mina stole the museum director's electric supercar and drove it directly through the underground delivery gate. Subtlety was not her strength. But timing was. While alarms pulled guards toward the lower level, I entered the central archive with Lucian's stolen access ring. The vault contained no paper, only suspended glass panels filled with neural recordings, memories, confessions extracted with white sleep, judges accepting money, executives ordering deaths, prosecutors destroying evidence, and one file marked Cassian Roe, final session. I opened it. My own face appeared. I was strapped to a chair inside a laboratory. Lucian stood behind the camera. You confused affection with loyalty, he told me. In the recording, I laughed through a split lip. No, you confused control with intelligence. Lucian asked which of the four women had the master key. I answered, none of them. He increased the drug. I continued smiling. They are the key only when they choose to trust one another. The recording ended. That was the final design. The evidence could only be released if all four cases were opened in the same place and each woman entered her private code willingly. Lucian had spent years teaching them that their families were natural enemies. He believed cooperation was impossible. He was wrong. Mina entered first and placed the velocity card into the console. Tessa added the witness list. Isolde entered the auction cipher. Aurelia uploaded the original white sleep formula. The archive unlocked. Every screen inside the museum changed. Then every news network connected to the gala received the files. The Palatine Circle appeared before the world. Lucian found us inside the archive. He was holding a pistol. You still do not remember who you are, he said. Maybe not. I stepped between him and the others. But I know who I chose to stand with. Lucian aimed at me. Tessa aimed at him. Mina moved toward the emergency controls. Isolde quietly activated the archive doors. Aurelia held the antidote injector against my neck in case Lucian released the gas. For the first time, the four women were not fighting over me. They were protecting one another. Lucian looked from one face to the next. His entire system had been built on isolation. He did not understand what he was seeing. That hesitation defeated him. Mina triggered the magnetic security field. The pistol tore from his hand and struck the vault wall. Tessa arrested him under the authority of the International Court. Isolde sealed the archive. Aurelia released the full medical records of every witness whose memory had been altered. By sunrise, the Palatine Circle was finished. The SEO board removed Mina's father. The Grey Judicial Council suspended half its senior members. The Maren Foundation returned hundreds of stolen artworks and opened its ledgers. Knox Laboratories lost its private licenses, and Aurelia testified against her own family. None of the four women inherited the empires waiting for them. They dismantled them. I expected that once the investigation ended, they would leave. Instead, we returned to the abandoned planetarium. Mina repaired the roof. Tessa turned one room into a legal office. Isolde filled the circular hall with paintings recovered from secret auctions. Aurelia built a clinic for people whose memories had been chemically altered. They did not remain because they were my girlfriends. They remained because, somewhere between the hospital and the museum, they had become something more dangerous to the people who created them. Friends. Weeks passed. Fragments of my memory returned. Not entire years. Small things. The sound of Tessa tapping a pen whenever she was about to lie. Isolde eating strawberries only after removing every seed she could see. Aurelia sleeping beside laboratory machines because she was afraid of silence. Mina stealing my coffee and complaining it was too sweet. One evening, she took me to the rebuilt racetrack. The same car from my crash waited beneath the lights. My hands began to shake. Mina tossed me the keys. I thought you said I was not allowed to drive. You are not. Then why give me these? So you can choose whether to sit in the passenger seat. She entered the driver's side. I sat beside her. For the first few laps, I could barely breathe. Then the memory returned. Rain on the windshield. Mina's hand over mine. My voice saying, when this is over, take me somewhere nobody knows Cassian Roe. Her answer, I know a place. The memory disappeared as quickly as it came, but this time it left warmth instead of pain. Mina stopped the car. I looked at her. I remember loving you. Her eyes filled, but she smiled. That is inconvenient. Why? Because I had finally decided to make you earn it again.